Hi, welcome back to day 16. We are just 9 days short of the 25th. So let's see what is inside this window for today. And as usual, I'm going to open it, show you the color, and then I'll be back with some pen with it inside. And we have here, sorry, I keep having this out of camera. So we have here the Season's Greetings, that's the name of this ink. And I can't really be sure if this is a green or a blue. Maybe it's a petrol colored ink. For me it's very hard, I'm not any good at distinguishing greens from blues, particularly on those kind of petrol colors or even in turquoise colors. It's very hard to me, but that's what it is. I will show you and then you'll decide which color it is. So, Season's Greetings will be coming back right away. See you. And here we are with our swatch. And what I have to say about this ink. It's really a dark green ink with a very heavy sheen. When more ink is put on paper, you can see it gets almost black and then it has kind of red burgundy sheen. So this is an ink that may have some interest for some of us. The pen that I decided to put this ink inside was this one, and this is a Montblanc Meisterstück 149. It is a very big pen and is black, and I think black goes well with every color. About this pen, there is some problem with these little ink bottles, is that the mouth of the bottles is too narrow to accommodate the section of the Montblanc. So this pen I cannot fill, and this is a piston filler, so I cannot put ink inside through the converter or through a cartridge or a syringe. So I had to put some of the ink with an eyedropper inside a Pineider traveling bottle, and then I used the Montblanc there. I used it to fill up the Montblanc. I didn't make a video about that, but I think I'll have to make a video about how to fill up pens with the Pineider bottle. Okay, we have the ink and we have the pen. Let's see the characteristics of the ink. First, we have here it's the right one, 16. We have here the chromatography, and we can see that there is some base resistance with a greenish, grayish green, whatever line. Then when the water goes up, some of that base colors is not fully. This color is not fully water resistant, but some of it is. So it goes along the paper. Otherwise it would be a white and all the color would be up there. And then we can see here that we have the blue and a green color. So this is how this color is made, like a grayish green, a bright green and a blue color to give it this final touch. So you can see it's quite a cold tone. Now let's just see how this compares with other inks. And first, let's see two samples I have here. One is the Sailor Gentle Epinard. It is a color that I like a lot, and I find that this kind of green is almost that one, but this one is brighter. But there isn't sheen in this one, or just a little bit where it's too heavy, but I wouldn't say there is a sheen in this ink. But the characteristics are almost the same. When it takes only one pass, it's very clear, very light color, although it is a dark green. But then if you put some more ink, it becomes almost black, like this one. However, this one is more in a grayish, bluish green than that one. And also I have here the Parker Quink Green, and this is a regular bright ink, so you can see that this is not the same color at all. And then finally we have here the Montegrappa, which is an ink green that is more similar with the Parker than with this one, but the kind of sheen that they have is almost the same. It is like a burgundy sheen that here is much heavier than in the Montegrappa sample. And finally, about the color comparison, let's go to the other inks of this Inkvent calendar. We have here the number 7, which was the mistletoe, a warmer dark green, and then we have the elf, which is a brighter green, more regular kind of green. This one is very different. It's on the bluish grayish side, and then where the ink gets heavier, like this, it becomes almost black. So you can use it almost as a black ink. And now let's go for the writing samples. And we have here our 3 papers that I've been using in all these Inkvent calendar reviews. And we have here the Moleskine paper, the Oxford optic paper, and here the Navigator copy paper. And let's put them closer to the camera, focus this, and you can see there is almost no sheen on the Moleskine, you can see there, but you can see the sheen on the Oxford, and you can't see it again on the copy paper. This is because those two are more absorbent and this one is not, so the ink gets on the surface and there is more potential for the sheen. You can see some shading on this pen, and you can imagine there can be some shading with this kind of color difference. So in this ink there is some, in this paper there is some shading. Some shading here also on the Oxford paper, but because it doesn't absorb the ink that much as the Moleskine paper, you can see that the color looks darker on the Oxford than on the Moleskine, even though it is not a white paper. And then we have the copy paper, which is again, the color is again brighter than on the other one. So you can see it is a green, and the shading on the ink is not that visible. So if you want to get shading, go Moleskine or Oxford. If you want to get sheen, you have to go to the Oxford and forget about the other two. And if you want to get the real color of it, I would say the greenish, you have to go to these ones, to the Moleskine or to the Navigator. And if you go to the Oxford, it becomes more on the dark side. So those two papers go better with this kind of tone, and this one, the Oxford, goes better with this darker tone. Sorry. And this is the overview that I can get of this. However, this is quite dark, these writing samples, because this nib, I don't know, I bought this pen second-hand, so I don't know really what kind of nib it is, but it has a specific grind. I would say it's almost like an architect grind. It's quite strange, and it is quite broad nib, so there's a lot of ink put down on paper, so it's easier with this pen to see the darker darker shades of this ink. And now let's go to the I forgot something. With all this ink being put on paper, we can see that both the copy paper and the Moleskine paper did well with the bleed through. There is some spots where you can see the ink passed to the other side, but not much. Here on the Oxford, no problem. So I would say this ink is really well behaved. Otherwise, with such a big amount of ink being laid down on paper, there could be heavy shiny, heavy bleeding, feathering, whatever you wanted. Now let's see the Rhodia dot pad. It is a paper that behaves more like the Oxford paper. It is a coated one, so you can see here the differences. Where it takes a long time to dry, however, the nib is also responsible to it because it puts a lot of ink on paper. And here where the water fell down, so I didn't never get over 40 seconds, it didn't dry out completely. And then here on the writing sample with drops of water, you can see the water is not water resistant, but there is some resistance, and through these green spot stain you can see the original line below. So you can really use these even when wet, but it's not completely waterproof. Now let's see the pen in action, just to see how the ink behaves. And let's go to the usual phrase. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So as you can see, this nib has a very particular grind. I'm not that used to it, and this makes me make my handwriting much bigger than it usually is. So I would say that my usually handwriting is like the size of this. This is made with a marker, and this is the size I have to do to get through with such a broad nib. So this is all I had to show you about the ink for today. Tomorrow, day 17, let's see what is there, and we'll meet again tomorrow here. By the way, tell me what you find special about this ink, if you like it, if you think that the sheen that this ink has really deserves the ink to be put into a regular lineup for Diamine, or you think that you can have a similar experience with any other ink. Please suggest me inks and ideas, and I appreciate that all. So, see you tomorrow. Bye.